Welcome to the Bookworm Bindery with Cathy-Lynn. This is a Finish It Friday where I will be finishing something because the last two, well, I finished, let me think about this, on the 6th, I want to say what the date was, the 6th, I finished the last of these small-sized or tiny journals. And then I took this one, which now looks slightly different than you saw last week. And I said, I will finish making this into a fairy junk journal next week. And there was no way I had time to do that. So I have worked on it in the week since. So that would have been the week of the 13th. Yeah. And here we are on the 20th, I believe. Yeah, it's the 20th. So I stenciled it. I talked about doing that. And I stenciled the back, and I did run some fun trim up the spine. I did get a flower and a fairy charm tied on, and then the knots glued to the threads in the center of the signature. So now what we have is add a few things and flip through type of a deal to finish this baby tiny, I guess I'm calling it a tiny fairy junk journal. So we're going to start with a pocket, and I have a few things that I can tuck into a pocket. I have this pretty envelope. There's actually nothing in it at this time, but it could be tucked in here. That works well. And there's another pocket here. I don't have a ton of things to put in pockets. So let's look at this. Oh, it's a field label from 1918. Not really, it's a digital, but it will fit in here. That's nice. And we have another pocket here. Not sure if I'm putting anything in that one. I'll come back if I end up. I really don't have much to tuck in. Now this one has two side tucks, or two side loading pockets rather, and again, not really sure. I don't have a lot to tuck in. Another side loading pocket, some fun little mushroom stickers, a side loading pocket in the top. Now this is a nice big one, and I have some writing paper. So one of the things that this particular journal doesn't have, oh, maybe it wasn't. I thought it was this one. What this journal doesn't have is a lot of empty pages for writing on. So I thought I would. Okay, look at this one. Is this one skinnier? I would tuck some writing papers in, and yes, it does stick up a bit. I'll just tuck my thumb in, but not too bad. It's fine, I think. Okay, here's a little information about fairies. This one came out of a book called, I'm reaching for it. It came out of Irish Cures, Mystic Charms, and Superstitions by Lady Wilde. And so I snipped that out and brought that in. This has a small tuck. Do I have something I can put in there? I do have a pretty page that has space for writing on the back. Doesn't quite fit, so no. Here we have a fold-out page with a fairy house made out of shells and plants and rocks. Okay, here's a nice tuck. And that fits nicely. Okay, here we have this was the pocket where the page was wide and I folded it over. Not putting anything in there right now. Here's a side tuck. Another page that folds out with a beautiful green fairy. Another pocket. Yeah, I got a fair number of pockets in here. And another fold out. I think I ended up with 5 of them. A side tuck. And a corner tuck. Here's a side loading pocket. Here's a page that's nice for writing on. Okay, let's see. Let's put this writing page in there. Another side pocket. This corner tuck has a tag already tucked into it. Oh, this was fun. And here is a side. Here's a side tuck, and it's kind of, a side. Again, it was a fold over page, and I made just a little tiny notebook, something for writing in. I can tuck it in here. It will fit nicely. Ooh, it fits all the way in, and the only way you know it's there is this is actually sticking up a little bit because it's thick. Okay, so what I do want to do, now that I've I have one more thing I can tuck in. This is a pretty envelope with a fairy house, and I actually tucked, can you see in there? Several small things so that whoever ends up with this particular journal can empty it out and have a few flower stickers and a tag and a little tiny fold over place to write little hidden notes. And then those things can be put anywhere within the journal or, tucked back in this envelope. So we'll go back towards the front where there were some tucks and pockets and find a place for that. In the meantime, I do have, oh, I didn't show you, this is fun. I glued this round on the bottom half. The top half isn't glued, so the flap can be folded under and held closed. So there's that. I do have 2 tabs put out on the side, and I do have a whale tail tab that I thought I'd like to add this in, and I don't. Let's look at where the other 2 are actually positioned. This one towards the very back, this one just this side of the middle. So maybe we can tuck this one or glue this one in. In the first couple of pages, or not, because of the way other things are put in here. Well, it would be okay if it got glued into the inside of that side loading pocket, and it's shorter than this side loading pocket, and the colors are complementary to that and not terrible to that. But I don't want to tuck it all the way in. I do want it to stick out like a tab. So that'll keep it from going inside. So I think this page will work nicely. Okay, let me do a quick check. I think this one, I don't know if the style sticks out more. I know it's farther inside. Nope, it's good. Okay. All right, so let's glue this on here and make a tab on this page. So what is it that you are finishing up today, or are you Have you started a new project? I am very close to finishing up 9 blank journal books that I've been making. But not close enough to finish those to call them a Finish It Friday. Okay. There. I did turn it around because these flowers seem to match these flowers. And while the side is the same flower, there's more stems, and I thought it just looked a little bit woodier, which would match this fun conifer tab. Okay, so there's that. Let's go back and look at this envelope. Let's make sure we find a place for it. There's an envelope there. That seems a little bit big. Okay, just a minute ago. Okay, this. What if we take this out of there and tuck it in here? And then come back here and slip this envelope into that tuck. Perfect. Well, okay, maybe not perfect, but you know, pretty good. And this is a little bit boring, so let's put a tag on it. It's got distressed edges, but let's make sure the white paper where it's cut out doesn't show through. Okay. Good. I'll put it down here. Yeah. So I had, if you saw the last video, you'll note that I've gotten some crochet trim, some purchased laces put on some sides of pages. And I've gotten most of my ephemera tucked in, glued in. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That little corner seems a little bit boring. I'm like, oh, I'll write the word mushroom on it, which probably should have done it before I glued it into the book, but that's fine. Okay. I'll come back to you because I don't want to go right in it while it's wet. This is a fun page. It was a coffee dye put on a screen, which left all these impressions, which wasn't the intention, but I love it. This, that would look nice there. If I put it in the bottom, I could use it as a corner tuck. If I glue it here and here, then there'd be room to tuck something into, should you have something you need to tuck in. Okay. All right. my thought on the pages where they fold out is that this could easily be a writing space as well, or something else could be glued onto that. Okay. So I'm looking for places to put these last couple of things. And then I have this really cute paper trim of ladybugs. I could put that along an edge. All right, well, this needs something. We'll put this up at the top. And then somebody wants to put a word or a thought. They have a little standout place to do that. And while this page is kind of a pinky lavender and it has mushrooms on it and it's a design, it could easily be written on with a black marker, some thoughts or a little information about fairies. Here was another bit of information about fairies that I got out of the Irish book as well. I decided when I was putting this together to not put anything from the Smashed Fairy book because some people are sensitive about smashed fairies and I didn't want to hurt anybody's sensibilities. Okay. I'll pull that book up really quick and show it to you because I have used some things in the fairy book that I was doing for a client, custom order. That one, the final flip through was last weekend, so you can go back and look for that sometime in around, well, I'll look at the calendar and tell you precisely, would have been come out on June 15th in the afternoon, 2025, and I did a flip through on that, and that journal has been delivered. Let's put these on this piece of brown paper. That'll be a nice little edge. Yeah. Okay. So that is the final bit to put in this journal. So we have had a flip through, we have added the last bits, and truly finished this tiny junk journal. I made 6 of this size. I had just enough leftover book board and papers, and I was like, I know it's kind of silly to make little tiny books, but people like little tiny books. I like little tiny books. And then when I decided to make a junk journal out of this one, I did get a couple of, oh, are you going to make a junk journal out of the sewing one, or are you going to do something else? Are you going to do a bunch of tiny junk journals? And the answer basically is no. On the other hand, you could buy one of the other tiny journals and turn it into a junk journal. Or you could commission one. All right, let's look at this. Do we like how much that's sticking out? I don't mind it sticking out some, but I feel like it's sticking out more than I like. So we're going to pull this out. We're going to trim it down. We're going to re-round the corners. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, corners. Oh, well, there's a little tiny bug. But now there is not, because I put him in the trash. There we go. Okay, so there's added writing space. There's tucks and hidden writing space. There we go. There are things to add to it, tucked in an envelope. I like it when my strings are long enough that they will stick off to the side. I guess they do stick off to the side on the spine, so that if the journal is being displayed upright like this, the charms are not in the way and visible. Both. We want them both not in the way and visible. If it's laid down, then it's fine. And this particular journal is going to be lovely either way. So not as big as a coffee table journal, but if you have a small end table next to your reading chair or next to the bed in the guest room or whatever, then you could have a little journal on a little table. Okay, so that is this particular project finished. Thanks for checking it out. If you have not yet, hit the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it if you do that. If you have a minute, go into the comments and let me know what it is you're doing. That helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are actually engaging with the channel, and then that introduces it to more people. I am going to be here whether there's lots of comments or not, but if you want to share this or if you want other people to see it, then hitting the like, making the comments, subscribing, and sharing it are all very helpful things to do. Not just with my YouTube channel, with everybody's YouTube channel. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking it out. And I hope that you have a lot of fun playing with your papers.